Hi everyone! Last time you were in art class, we started our very first project and we are working on a name project, but it's not your typical name project. So what we have been doing is using line to draw our letters so that they can be filled in. So it's not just single lines, it's lines attached together to make shapes, but those shapes are pretty cool. So what your job was to think about yourself, think about different things that you like, and then come up with a way to write your name using some of the things that you like. So if you happen to miss the last video, you'll need to go back and watch that again so that you really understand how to start the project. What I'm going to do right now though is show you what I did for my demonstration last time. It looks like this. So as you can see, and I don't know if this shows up backwards for you, it is for me right now, but I'll see if I can fix that. I wrote my son's name, which is backwards here, J-O-R-Y, so Jory, and I used things that he likes. So he likes fishing, so I used a fishing hook for the J, a baseball for the O, a fish for the R, and worms for the Y. Today I'm going to do another demonstration and I'm going to talk to you and talk to you about and show you how to use Sharpies, how to erase your lines and make sure that they're erased really well, and then how we can start coloring these. Now that some of you are in 4th grade, I'm going to start getting a little bit pickier about how you color. We won't just color things one solid color. We'll start adding lights and darks to our projects to start making objects and things look more realistic. So I'll show you how to do that in the demonstration. Okay, so last time you worked on brainstorming and coming up with items that you really like, and then coming up with things that you could use to draw the letters of your name. I believe I told you you could use your first name or your last name. I just want to make sure that I know who it belongs to, okay, when I see pictures of it. So please stick with your first name or your last name. So this is what I did, and your job was to work on this. And if you have not finished drawing yet, I want you to finish drawing, and then I want you to move on to the Sharpieing part of the project. So in your kit of supplies that you picked up from your teacher, by the time you listen to this video, it probably isn't going to be last week anymore. But the kit that you picked up a week or two ago had the drawing paper in it. It also had Sharpies in it. So you had a thick Sharpie. It's the one with the rounded lid. And then you had a thin Sharpie that has a flat lid. We are going to use the one with the flat lid for this project, okay? Now, we probably talk about this every single school year, but these have very pointy tips. If you push hard, they will bend right over and it will wreck the Sharpie. It won't work well anymore. If you marker fast, it doesn't work as well, and it for some reason dries the marker up faster. Same thing if you push hard on it, okay? So you really, especially with these skinny Sharpies, you really just have to be gentle with them. Don't push hard, don't color fast, just be careful, okay? So you are going to, oh, this brings me to a good point. Sometimes it doesn't dry or doesn't write very well. So you just want to get a piece of scrap paper and gently scribble on the back and it starts to work again, okay? So you want to trace everything very carefully. And again, I'm not pressing hard. And if you go out of the lines just a teeny tiny bit, don't worry about it. Don't try to fix it because you can't erase Sharpie, and sometimes trying to fix it actually makes it worse. Okay, so there's there's my J. I'm not going to Sharpie all of these, but I'm going to Sharpie a couple of them that I want to use for the coloring part of the demonstration. Now notice I was a little bit sketchy when I did my drawing. So it's like 3 or 4 lines to make up one line. When you Sharpie it, you don't want to do that. You just want one nice clean line. All right, so now we are going to pretend that I have Sharpied all of the project. And we're going to take an eraser and go over everything and erase all those leftover pencil lines just to make it nice and clean. So now it looks like this. Okay, double check to make sure you got everything. You guys know I'm kind of picky about pencil lines. Just looks so much nicer when we get rid of all of those. Okay, so it looks like this. Now, you are going to color using colored pencils, okay? The colors that you use are completely up to you. However, I would try to make things look realistic looking. So a purple baseball probably wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. A white baseball would, with the red stitching. You might not have like a metallic colored pencil. It depends on what size of box of colored pencils you purchased. But you could use like a gray or something, and that would be perfectly fine. So pick colors that are somewhat realistic. Now, if you did something that's kind of cartoony, like this fish here, it makes sense for that to be kind of cartoony colors. You wouldn't have to make this look like, I don't know, a bass or a bluegill or whatever. Just make it look the way you want it to look, okay? So I did happen to get a box of colored pencils that had a metallic silver in it. So I am going to use that to make my fishing hook. And I'm going to color it in nice and neatly. Take your time, make sure you stay in the lines. I'm going kind of fast. You really want to take your time though. And you want to push sort of hard on the pencil, not so hard that you break it, but hard enough so that the colors end up really showing up. If I just color like this very lightly, it's really hard to see that. Okay? So there's my hook. I did not Sharpie my baseball, so I'm not going to color that, but I will move over to the fish. And since I made it cartoon looking, I am going to make it kind of cartoony looking when I color it also. Now, here's something that's kind of cool about colored pencils that you can't do with other things, and I want you to try this somewhere on your project. You can press really hard to make things look dark. So on a fish is kind of a little bit rounded. It rounds over the top and then down to the other side. And when something goes away from us, it looks darker. So I'm making it really dark along the edge by pressing hard. And then what I can do is press lighter going in, and it gradually fades to a little bit of a lighter color, and it makes it look just a little bit more realistic. Now you can also use this doing 2 colors, and I'll show you that on like the tail, because that's also a pretty cool technique. So I don't want to fade it out just to white in the center. It's just a lighter version of this turquoise. So it looks something like that. It's not dark and then light, not like a drastic change from dark to light. It's a gradual change from dark to light. And that's what you want to do. This is kind of one of my favorite things to do, is color with colored pencils and make things look as realistic as I can just by pressing harder and softer. Okay, so I'm not going to finish the whole thing, but I told you I wanted to show you the tail. So I want my tail to be the same color of turquoise, but I'm going to use purple along the edge, just like I did with the dark turquoise along the edge up there. I'm just blending that purple into the turquoise up here a little bit so it makes it look a little bit more like it all flows together. And I'm going to fade that purple out into the turquoise very gradually. And then I'm also going to bring the turquoise into the purple a little bit. So it looks like that. Okay, so that's a technique I could do around the whole entire fish if I wanted to. Or you could do like I did and just do it on the tail. You could do it on the fins also to kind of pull it all together. Okay, so you do not have to finish coloring by the next class time. I do want you to get started with the coloring, but we will have another class or 2 where we can work on these before I want you to turn them in. I do, however, want you to bring these to class next time so that we can share what we've done. I can give you suggestions. If you have any questions about them, you can ask me questions about them. So make sure you bring your work to class with you next time. Okay? We'll see you next time. Have a great day.